Hey gang, thanks for tuning in to Travel Nursing with Trace. Today I thought we'd do a little something different and get out of the studio and get out onto the street. So I'm standing in the parking lot of a facility where I'm currently working in Omaha, Nebraska. It's been a great contract, and I couldn't have hoped for more. So today we're going to be covering a lot of information, a lot of questions that people have had recently about travel nursing. I've got some notes with me because there are so many, I just can't remember them all. We're going to cover them one by one. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Smash that subscribe button. It would really help me out a lot. So the first question I have is, what is travel nursing? And the best way that I can describe travel nursing basically is when a facility somewhere in the country needs a nurse quick. Maybe they have a lot of turnover. Maybe they're opening up a new facility, or they're expanding, or they're just really busy. Maybe with like COVID, everybody's gotten sick and they need replacements of staff. And you sign up with an agency. You sign up with an agency that locates these facilities for you, so you don't have to do it yourself. It'd be almost impossible to do it yourself. The one I'm currently working with is Maxim. Mark Emery at Maxim Health can get you a job pretty quickly. He's great. I'm going to put his number right here on the screen so that you can call him. Use the code word Travel Nursing with Trace, and he'll get you set up with your contract as well. But I was a nurse for 2 years in the operating room before I started to think about travel nursing, and I didn't do it right away. I wish I had. I waited a few more years, but I guess in one way it was really good, because you have to know your skill pretty well. You just can't get out of nursing school and go right into travel nursing, because when you hit that floor, you need to know what you're doing. You get very little orientation, and they expect you to take your job on and take it on pretty seriously and pretty quickly. You have to be able to think on your feet and know what to do in your career field. So travel nursing basically is what it sounds like. You hook up with an agency, they find you a contract somewhere in the country. You do a lot of things like send your vaccination cards in, get your background check, get drug screened. You fill out the application for the employment, you do the interviews, and you find your housing, and you get your car and you go. Just like that. Travel nursing is exactly what it sounds like. The next question I have is, what are the benefits of being a travel nurse? Well, the benefit for me is really, bottom line, is pay. And I make a lot of money travel nursing. I'm not saying that to be conceited or high and mighty. I'm just saying the truth of the matter is, pay is the reason why I travel nurse. I can make upwards of 5 times more travel nursing than I can as a full-time staff member in a hospital somewhere. I find that travel nursing also allows me the opportunity to get away from the politics and all the red tape, such as all the meetings and projects and everything. All I really have to do as a travel nurse is show up to work, go home, collect my paycheck. Also, being a travel nurse allows me to go to different places and see different things and meet different people, if I haven't already said that. Seeing new country that I haven't seen before. I've seen so much travel nursing, so seeing new sites and making great money, those are the benefits for me. Next is, what does it take to be a travel nurse? Well, like I said before, basically you need to be in your chosen career field, wherever that might be, as a med-surg nurse or an ER nurse or an OR nurse, whatever it is you're doing, for at least 1.5 years. I would recommend 2, just so that you get your skills set, you know exactly what you're doing, you can think on your feet and think outside the box all at the same time. So 1, you need to be a registered nurse. You need to have your nursing license. You need to have all of your vaccinations. You need to be able to prove that you know what you're doing in your career field. What is it like to work in travel nursing? Well, it can be stressful, like any job, I suppose, but I enjoy it. I enjoy getting out there and doing new things, meeting new people, be challenged constantly. One thing that I found as a travel nurse, since you're just passing through, People don't really always take the time to get to know you because you're just one of many who's not going to be there for very long. So you may find that people are standoffish or don't want to talk to you as much because they don't want to invest the time to build a relationship with you. Same way with the surgeons that I work with. Although they're usually very nice, mostly very nice, they don't always want to take the time to get to know you. So that's one thing. The other thing is sometimes you're put in the worst rooms. They reserve the best rooms for full-time staff, core members, core staff members, and they give the hardest rooms to you. Being that you're the traveler, they know that you're making the money, they're going to have you work for it. What is the best way to do travel nursing? Well, that was a question I really didn't quite understand, but I'm going to attempt to answer it anyway. The best way to do travel nursing, if you're talking about what you should do and not do as a travel nurse, well, you should always show up for your shifts. Do not call in sick. That really looks bad. You're only there for 13 weeks, and one day will really put out the worst impression of you. So make sure you're always showing up for your shifts, that you're polite, you're kind, you're courteous, you clock in on time, you clock out on time. If people ask you if you'll stay late, really consider it, because that makes you look better as a traveling nurse. How do you become a traveling nurse? Well, it's pretty simple. Like I said, a year and a half at least in your chosen career field, and then you start reaching out to agencies, travel agencies. Like I said, the one I work with right now is Maxim. I've worked with Focus Staff before. I've worked with Arias. I recommend that you have at least 5 that you find that you like to work with, and then narrow it down to 3 that you're with steadily. This really widens your margin of finding the right facility for you. It helps you find jobs much quicker, and it also gives you an opportunity to compare contracts with different agencies. So once you found the agency that you like to work with, they'll walk you through every single step. How does pay work for travel nurse? That's a great question. Basically, you make a lot more money travel nursing, and you get paid weekly as opposed to bi-weekly. You can't say anything really more than that. Pay is pay. You get paid a lot, and you get paid often. So you may wonder, how much does a travel nurse make? When I was a full-time staff member in the operating room, I could make up to about $42 an hour, maybe $45 if I was lucky. As a travel nurse, I make about $125 an hour, and I've made as much as $250 an hour on call. So a huge difference. Where do travel nurses go? I'm in Texas, so I have a Texas Compact license, which allows me to go to quite a few states in the country. I think some of the ones that I can't go are California, Seattle, Washington, Alaska. There are a few others I can't think of off the top of my head, but those require additional licenses. Now, if you decide that you want to go to a state that you don't have a license for, you can apply for that license, and your agency will help you do that, and then they'll reimburse you the money for the cost of that license. Nurses can go anywhere in the continental United States and work anywhere that they're needed, as long as they're licensed for it. I change locations basically every 13 weeks, the length of my contract. I'll take a few weeks off in between contracts just so that I can stay at home and see my family and get things done and just decompress, because although it's 13 weeks, it can be a long 13 weeks sometimes. So yeah, every 13 weeks, if you want, you can change locations. Or at the end of your 13-week contract, you can opt to stay at the current contract that you're at if they want you to extend, which extensions are always possible if you do a great job. How do travel nurses find housing? Well, it's kind of challenging sometimes. I use Furnished Finders, and they're not sponsoring this video, but I use them primarily because they're easy for me to use, and typically I have a lot of options wherever I'm going. There are some places where you can't find housing, so before you sign that contract, make sure you look for housing in the area where you're going, because you don't want to be driving 2 hours to a job. And you also don't want to be paying what it costs to stay in a hotel, because hotels are very, very expensive, and so are bed and breakfasts. I only use Furnish Finders because they give me a lot of opportunity to find something in the area that I'm working at. I'm actually living right across the street from where I'm at now, so I could walk to work. But yeah, FurnishFinders.com. There are a few others out there, but Furnish Finders has been the best for me. What is the point of a travel nurse? Well, I'll say that travel nurses fill empty spots where they're needed. There are places right now in the country where they don't have enough staff to fill places, and like I'm a surgery nurse, so I'm an OR nurse, and cases can't go if you don't have a circulator to cover it. People that are full-time staff, they get tired because they're so overworked because there's not enough nurses to take the load. So travel nurses fill a lot of spots where they are needed quickly. Can a new graduate nurse be a travel nurse? And the answer is no. You need to know what you're doing. You need to spend that 1.5 years in your career field, and an agency really isn't going to talk to you just right out of school. They're going to need to know that you can stand on your own 2 feet. So the answer is no. A new grad nurse should not be a travel nurse, and I've never seen an agency take one. Is travel nursing still in demand? Yes, very much in demand. I'm not seeing as many crisis pay jobs that we had like when COVID hit and the world went to hell. But travel nursing is still very much in demand. It's a very healthy field to go into. It's not going to disappear. In fact, I kind of think the face of nursing is going to change dramatically. I think where we're going is contractual nursing. I don't think we'll have very many full-time nursing positions out there just simply because they don't pay. And the hospitals aren't stepping up to pay them. So yeah, travel nursing is very much in demand. It's very healthy and it's still paying extremely well. Is travel nursing stressful? Yes, it can be. I don't know that it's any more stressful than any other job, but the thing that makes it stressful for me is just not knowing where things are on the floor and having to get to them really quickly and learning doctors' preferences and what they like. That's really the stressful part for me. Do travel nurses get free housing? No, they do not. You will pay for your housing. Whether the agency finds you housing and pays for it for you and takes your housing stipend, or you find it on your own and you pay out of pocket, you will pay for your housing in some way, shape, or form. I prefer to go to Furnish Finders, find my own place, and pay out of my pocket because I make more money. If the agency does it, they take my housing stipend, and that will cost me a lot more than it would if I paid for it myself. Are travel nursing prices going down for their services? And yes, they are, but not a lot. The pay is still really great, and it beats being a full-time nurse somewhere. Now, the difference is I don't get PTO, I don't get vacation time, that's not paid, and I don't get benefits unless I opt to get them through my agency, but I don't. I'm fortunate. I have a wife that works a full-time job in the operating room as a surgical tech. She's been at her job for years. She loves it there, and she holds the insurance while I travel. It's just better for financial reasons for us. Are travel nursing taking advantage of the situation that we're currently in? I think that question basically means, are we taking advantage because we're asking for so much money? And the answer is really no, in my opinion. I spent 6 years in school getting my prereqs, getting my bachelor's degree from the University of Texas at Tyler, and going to WGU for my master degree. I've spent a lot of time and money to get where I am, and I would like to be compensated fairly, which I don't think hospitals do for their full-time staff nurses. So this allows an opportunity for nurses to get paid what they're worth. Surgeons, doctors, they're getting paid exorbitant amounts of money. CEOs make millions of dollars in bonuses every year, while their staff nurses are working so hard and doing their job for what they get paid is really nothing compared to the money that they've spent to get to where they are. So this allows staff nurses to go out and travel and make the money that they're actually worth. So no, I don't think we're taking advantage of the situation at all. I think the situation has finally allowed staff nurses to make what they're worth. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please smash that button right now. Turn on notifications by clicking the bell. Share this video, like this video. It really helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me today on Travel Nursing with Trace, and happy travels.